Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is V. For today's video I am going to be talking all about how I got B grades at my A-levels, well my second year of A-levels. I got 3 A's in my first year and then I got 3 B's in my second year of A-levels, but obviously those are the A-levels that they look at for when you're going to university and stuff. So I'm going to talk about how I got B's at my A-levels and then got into Oxford and then got into Harvard, because I get asked this a lot and I personally feel like I've covered it in the videos that I've made. I feel like I've spoken about it. I feel like you guys already know, but obviously the more that we are growing and glowing, I guess more people are coming to the channel and maybe it's a new question that arises. So instead of to keep like sending the link and stuff, I just thought let's do a fresh video and maybe I'll be able to tell it a little bit differently and more helpful. I don't know. If I repeat myself, I'm sorry. It's just, it is a repeated video in a sense. Anyways, so let's get straight to it. If you're new, welcome to the family. Please do press subscribe because it really helps me out and you can still watch my videos. Anyways, so how did it all begin? So in my first year of A-levels, things were going pretty swimmingly well in terms of the school was somewhat stable, we were having regular lessons and things were okay. So I guess that was reflected in how I performed, maybe, I don't know. And then in the following year we lost 2 teachers and then we had, I don't even know how many substitute teachers for my English literature class. It was, at that point we were teaching ourselves, you know, and then our RS teacher had like elections going on. He wanted to be a local governor or something, so he was barely concentrating in the classes. And then our philosophy teacher found a new job and left, so literally all 3 of my subjects were affected. Oh, and my history teacher ended up having like a health situation, and obviously I like cannot even be mad about that. He ended up having to leave for a bit, and then the person who replaced him, she'd been out of work for quite a while for maternity leave and stuff, but it was like a few years. So when she came back, she was like getting into the swing of things with the new system and everything. So all of my subjects were literally affected and I lost my teachers and had replacements or had whatever. It was very like disrupted, I will be honest. And then there was a lot going on with our school. I don't know what was wrong. Like, people were either dropping out, we were having issues, like our head of something was, it was a mess, and I really honestly can't remember what was going on, but things were upside down. And I think in our year group especially, all of our grades kind of just went down a little. So people who were predicted 8 stars and stuff didn't really end up getting them. People who were predicted A's didn't end up getting them. It was like a general trend. It wasn't just for me, but definitely all of my subjects were affected and I did not have a consistent teacher anymore for any of them. So that happened, and then results day I opened my results and I got a B. And also obviously maybe I stopped working as hard as I was in first year. Maybe there was a whole host of things that could have happened. Okay, so got my B's, and I think for the first month I was really upset because I was on this trajectory of getting these grades and I didn't, and I knew that the schools that I'd applied to all wanted those A's and they didn't want B's. So I was like, this is a disaster. Now I look back, I'm like, girl, what? You should have been over the moon proud of yourself. Your B's are beautiful. Your B's are beautiful. If you got a B, a C, whatever it is beautiful. And do not ever downplay what you've just achieved, because I assume that the people watching this are people from backgrounds that were like mine, where you were unsupported, underrepresented, underprivileged backgrounds. Like, if you are coming from those kind of walks of life and just still succeeding in school, like, whoa, like, be proud of yourself. And I think I put a lot of pressure on myself, comparing myself to people that just had not had the same life experiences as me at all, and obviously had more time to invest into their studies, into like concentrating and stuff. And I was working full-time at McDonald's. Like, I was working all the time. I'd literally leave class, run and work, and I had to do a volunteering thing. There was a lot happening. Okay, so anyways, we got those B's and that was all that. And then that summer I'd also applied for the Oxford University foundation year, and they wanted me to have 2 A's and a B. Obviously I'd missed the offer, but when I called them and I explained it, I was like, please, like, I really want to do this, and my personal statement saved me, if you may. And the things that I cared about, the things that I'd done. They could see that I was resilient and I was ready to work and to do this. So to be honest with you, I will say they took a chance on me. Like, they really did take a chance on me, and it clearly ended up working out, but it was a close call. So that's how I got into my foundation year with my Bs, is that they just said, okay, we will lower the grade boundary that we'd had for you, and then you just have to prove yourself. You've got 1 year to prove yourself, reapply, and kind of it's on you now. And I ended up passing the foundation year with grades that would have matched A's and A levels, because it's kind of like the foundation year was you essentially having a third year of A levels in a way, if you know what I mean. Like, you were replacing your A level grades with that foundation year grade, and my foundation year grade that came out was great. They were very happy with it. Then I obviously did the 3 years at Oxford, ended up getting a 2-1, which, if you're watching and you're American, what would we call that? I don't know. I really can't do the grade conversions for you, but I ended up getting a 2-1. The first class is like the top. 2-1 is like underneath first class, then you have a 2-2, and then you have a third, and then you have a fail. So I got a 2-1. So I guess place that wherever you want in your mind. And when I was applying for Harvard, they didn't have a grade requirement per se, but you obviously had to have passed with a good grade at your school, a respectable grade. So when I got the 2-1, that was classed as a respectable grade. Plus my personal statement was just, I don't big myself up a lot, guys, but I'm gonna say right now, when it comes to writing a personal statement, look for me, because writing is one of my passions. So when it came to like selling myself on paper, I can do it. I know how to like let the passion come through. So I kind of had this feeling of, if I ever did get into Harvard, it would be based on that more than grades. And I also had to do the GRE for Harvard, which is this, and I'm going to tell you about that in a second. And it is really, really hard. And the mathematics side I wasn't the best at, but I did well on the writing and analytics side of things. So I think I got in based on those grades plus the 2-1, and they didn't care about my B's at A levels. Actually, they really didn't even look into it. So that's how all of the grade side of stuff happened. And then in terms of preparing for getting into Oxford and getting into Harvard, for Oxford I had to do a written statement, which is your personal statement. Then I had to provide like an essay that I'd written before, so they could see what my writing style is like. So I just chose one of my best marked essays from my history teacher, and I handed that in. And then you sometimes have to do an admissions test. I'll be real with you. You might have to do an admissions test, but sometimes your subject doesn't require you to. And the subject that I was doing, classical archaeology and ancient history, didn't actually ask for an admissions test. So I kind of got lucky there. But if I had to have done one, I feel like I'd have done okay in it, because we all had to do an unseen text and writing, that's me. So yeah, that's what I had to do for Oxford, and have an interview as well. The interview counts so much, and you're like but for me, I'm like, when you have the interview, you're essentially just bringing your personal statement to life. So if you've been truthful in your personal statement about your passions and things you've done, you'll be fine at interview, because you're just bringing that to life. And when they ask you questions about your degree and you might not know the answer, it's okay. They just want to see how you think out loud and how you're going to solve a problem that you may not know how to deal with. So think out loud, work through the questions, really show them, like, even though I don't know, I'm going to take everything else that I know from other aspects of life and apply it into one. Then when it came to Harvard, you have to do a GRE test, which I think they're going to scrap soon, because I can see why. Standardized testing, got a few issues with it, you know. But you had to do a GRE, and to prepare for it, this is how I prepared for it. I read this front to back. Well, I tried to, majority front to back, and prepared all these practice questions, learned all of these different words, because you have like word tests and stuff like that. And that's how I prepared for it. Literally, this book cost me, I think, £20 maybe. It costs $34 US, which comes out to be like something like 20 something pounds. Cost me that much, and I spent the summer reading this, learning this, and then I watched some YouTube videos from people who do GRE training courses and stuff like that. And that was literally how I prepared. I have never paid for preparation for Harvard or Oxford or anything like that. So when people always say like, oh my god, I can't afford to get the preparation done, I'm like, please, 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 like, don't let them put you off by telling you it's expensive, because it is not. You can prepare for these things for free online. People do YouTube, people share their tips, but obviously this does cost a lot. Like 20 something pounds for a book is quite a lot, but maybe you can find it on eBay for secondhand. Try to see. I think, okay, fine, in the whole process of preparing for Oxford and Harvard, I ended up spending 20 something, which I guess you could, in the grand scheme of things, be like, it's so worth it. But obviously I know it's expensive as well, but this is the only cost that my method has, right? So that's how I prepared. And in your personal statement, it's not about being flashy and like wanting to mimic how wealthy people would get their experiences, because I have had that question a lot, like, do I need to be rich to be able to do these things and to share my personal statement is great? You don't. My personal statement was speaking all about what I did during my time working at McDonald's. It meant that my personal statement ended up being full of experiences that I'd gained from my everyday life for free that I didn't have to pay for. And I really always want to emphasize that it really upsets me when people from backgrounds like mine or areas like mine are told this false narrative that you have to have done things that are very costly, that are gonna put you out of pocket and put your family out of pocket for you to enter spaces like this, and you just don't. Like, you don't understand how much of wealth of experience you've got and how much you are bringing to the table. So if you've been volunteering at your local school, obviously you didn't pay to do that. That's something that you're doing for your own free time. Or if you were working at KFC, McDonald's, River Island, wherever you're working in retail, you're learning innovation, you're learning teamwork skills, you're learning communication. There's so much you're getting from that. Or if you watch spare lectures in your spare time on YouTube for free, like all of this stuff that you just do day to day, you don't even realize you're doing, all of that is absolutely adequate for your personal statement. Like, you don't need to have flown to Dubai to look at the biology marines, or gone to shadow a doctor in Pakistan, for example, and taken a flight there, or been to Zimbabwe to volunteer with a local charity and flown. You don't have to have done all of that like extravagant stuff, which is great. I know it's great experience to put on your CV, but the things that you've done now are actually enough. And I guess I get why you'd feel that way, because I felt that way at first. I was like, how can I just put McDonald's? Like, that's not adequate. They're not gonna take me seriously. Like, I'm competing with people who've been shadowing professional doctors, who've been doing this and that. Okay, great for them, and I'm sure they learned those skills of communication and stuff like that in that space, but you've learned yours in your own space, and we're going to be proud of where we come from and what we've done, because it's not easy. Surviving in this world is just not easy. So for you to have completed your work experience at McDonald's, Boots, wherever, it's phenomenal, and it's worthy to put in your personal statement. It's all about how you frame everything. So yeah, that's how I did it. And I didn't allow this idea of my B grades were gonna hold me back per se, because I knew obviously that some people are gonna look at that and be like, she's not good enough to come here because she should have got A stars or A's. But I made sure my personal statement outshone. And you have extenuating circumstances forms as well. If you didn't get the grades that you necessarily wanted, fill out a form and let them know why. If you can explain it. Obviously, if you just didn't want to study, and that's okay too, that maybe you shouldn't be applying for school if you're not really into it. But if you worked as hard as you could and then you got a grade that you weren't so happy with, but you know why, explain it. Don't be embarrassed to explain what's going on. Don't be embarrassed to kind of just tell them, I want to be here. I know I'm good enough, and I know that maybe my grades don't reflect it right now, but this is the reason why, and I'm going to be better. And that's literally what I did with Oxford and Harvard. I promised them that I could do it, and I did it, right? And obviously we don't know yet with Harvard. I could end up failing, which I'll be very, very sad about. But I said to them, I'm capable, got my 2-1 from Oxford, and just let's do this. And yeah, I think I'm rambling now, but overall that is how I ended up in Oxford and Harvard with my B grades. I don't know, my personal statements have always saved me, if you want to, because my passion comes through, my love for the subject. You can clearly see I want to be there. You can clearly see, even if I'd gotten F's or G's, obviously that wouldn't have worked out very well with them, but even if I'd gotten those grades, they can see that my personal statement is speaking volumes, I guess. So that is it. And I hope this video was somewhat helpful, but if you are looking to go to Harvard, I'd really recommend you invest in this book. It is everything, and it's the 2020 version. I hope there'll be a 2021 one. Try and get as closest to the year we're living in version, because obviously they update as they go. That is it. See you soon. Love you. And any more questions, ask them below and I will be answering in the comment section. Bye.